afternoon, evening. Welcome back to the Crypto Sherpa Show, where I cover the latest cryptocurrency news articles so you can stay informed on what's going on in the crypto space. Because sometimes that mainstream media doesn't really cover everything. Sure, they're mentioning the Genius Act, Clarity Act, which I think is about to be signed soon or voted on. And also some nice things. Yeah, here's from a tweet from the U.S. Senate Banking Committee. The Genius Act is clear. The Federal Reserve does not have authority to issue a CBDC. Yes, so Chairman Senate Tim Scott will continue pushing back on any overreach from the Federal Reserve. So Crypto Week continues on. And did we get a little thing from Trump saying too? Was this yesterday? I think I already covered this, but happy Crypto Week. The House will soon vote on a tremendous bill to make America the undisputed #1 leader in digital assets. Nobody does it better. And the Genius Act is going to put our great nation light years ahead of China, Europe, and all the others out there. So we have all this stuff going on this week. But as my title and thumbnail shows, what if? I use the Marvel thumbnail caption with the Watcher back there, but I have a couple articles on what if? People always have concerns going, is Bitcoin really just hard capped at 21 million? Can it change? Well, we got an article going to be covering over that and saying why it really will not happen because of the negative effects if people want to actually vote to increase the 21 million hard cap. It's not going to happen, but what if? And then also there's some people out there concerned about quantum computing. Is Bitcoin at risk? There's some articles out there talking about, Bitcoin needs to actually address this as soon as 2030. So there's actually a BIP proposal getting put through or trying to get pushed into play. So that way we can keep protected that way. And then the last what if I have is what if Bulgaria didn't sell their 218,000 Bitcoin back in 2018 when they confiscated it? They probably would have saved a lot of debt off of their hands if they just held on to it. So it really brings the question what if these countries just hold Bitcoin as a long-term treasury reserve? And now we have a bunch of other articles to cover, so let's not waste any more time and dive right in. And we're going to start off with, can Bitcoin's hard cap of 21 million be changed? So let's find out. So first off, what is a hard cap? A hard cap is the maximum supply of a cryptocurrency that can ever exist. It's hard-coded into the blockchain's code and sets a strict limit on how many tokens or coins can be created. This limit promotes scarcity, which can help boost the value of each token over time. Now take Bitcoin, for example. Its creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, set a hard cap of 21 million coins. That's it. No matter how much demand there is or how many miners try to produce new Bitcoin, the supply will never exceed 21 million. But why does a hard cap matter? Absolute scarcity is a big deal in crypto. It's like Bitcoin being digital gold, but even more limited. If demand increases, the price may rise because no new coins can be created to meet that demand. The only way a cryptocurrency could increase its supply would be changing its core code, basically reinventing itself. And here was a little post back in 2009 on why did Satoshi choose 21 million. And he said that my choice for the number of coins and distributed schedule was an educated guess. It was a difficult choice, but because once the network is going, it's locked in. We're stuck with it. I want to pick something that would make price similar to existing currencies, but without knowing the future. Now that's very hard. I ended up picking something in the middle. If Bitcoin remains a small niche, it'll be worth less per unit than existing currencies. If you imagine it being used for some fraction of the world commerce, then there's only going to be 21 million coins for the whole world. So it would be worth much more per unit. Values are 64-bit integers with 8 decimal places. So one coin is represented internally as 100 million. There's plenty granularity of typical prices becoming small. And for example, if 0.001 is worth €1, then it might be easier to change where the decimal point is displayed. So if you had 1 Bitcoin, it's now displayed as 1,000, and 0.001 is displayed as 1. So just little guesses he had to make with doing that. But compare this to gold. If it were easier for everyone to mine gold suddenly, then the supply would increase and the price would drop Bitcoin. And then the price would drop because of it. But Bitcoin doesn't have that issue because it's a fixed hard cap. It's 21 million. That's what's giving it a lot of its value. Now let's talk about the difference between a hard cap and a soft cap, like we see in ICOs. Now, the term hard cap also shows up in the world of initial coin offerings when projects raise money through ICOs, and the hard cap is a maximum amount they aim to collect, while the soft cap is the minimum needed to launch a project. Now think of a soft cap as the minimum fundraising goal, while the hard cap is more of a stretch goal. The hard cap is usually set higher to allow for more fundraising potential, but it doesn't always mean the project will reach the target. Now, in both cases, whether talking about total supply or fundraising limits, a hard cap helps set clear boundaries, promoting transparency, scarcity. And now let's explore Bitcoin's 21 million hard cap, why it's so important, and what could happen if this were to change. So here's the significance of that 21 million hard cap, because I did say it's like the what if, if we did change it, this is what would happen. So Bitcoin's 21 million hard cap ensures its scarcity, acting as digital gold and a store of value, but ongoing debates question whether it could be changed. Now, Bitcoin's hard cap of 21 million coins is like its DNA, and it's what makes Bitcoin the treasured asset it is today. It's the digital equivalent of gold scarcity, and it's a big reason why people see it as a store of value. Bitcoin is also considered the apex asset within the cryptocurrency asset class. But as Bitcoin grows and evolves, some folks have started to wonder, could this hard cap ever be changed? Well, let's break it down and see why this is such a hot topic. So imagine if someone suddenly decided just to print up more gold. It wouldn't be as precious anymore, right? It's basic economics between supply and demand. And as supply increases, the perceived value typically decreases, and vice versa. Now, the same goes for Bitcoin. The 21 million hard cap was baked into its code by Satoshi Nakamoto and Bitcoin's mysterious creator. It's what gives Bitcoin its digital scarcity, a feature that's pretty rare in the world of fiat currencies. Even in the world of cryptocurrencies, other blue chip assets like Ether and Solana do enjoy the same status as Bitcoin with respect to their economic model. But here's why the cap is such a big deal. One, it's a store of value. Bitcoin is often called digital gold because, like gold, it's scarce. There's only so much of it, and no one can just make more of it, and this scarcity is a huge part of its value. It's also decentralization and trust with it. Unlike fiat currencies where central banks can just print up money whenever they want, Bitcoin's supply is fixed. This means no one can mess with it for their own gain. And then it's predictable monetary policy. Bitcoin supply grows at a predictable rate thanks to the halving event that happens approximately every 4 years. This event cuts the mining reward in half, slowing down the creation of new Bitcoin until the 21 million cap is reached. Now, as of 2025, over 19.8 million Bitcoin has already been mined, leaving less than 1.2 million left to be created. The scarcity is a big part of what drives Bitcoin's value, currently hovering around 100,000. I believe actually we are 118.76. We did reclaim 119 a moment ago. But the supply of Bitcoin over time highlighting this 21 million. So since it was created, it was producing 50 Bitcoin per block, and then every 4 years or 210,000 blocks, they got cut in half. Went to 2000 and went down to 25 Bitcoin in 2016. In 2020, it went down to 12 Bitcoin, and then in 2024, we're now down to 6. Wait, no. 2020, so 2009, then it was 50 Bitcoin. 2012 was 25. 2016 was 12.5. 2020 was 6.125, and now we're at our current recent halving, which is 3.125 something Bitcoin. And then 2028 is going to roll around, and that's going to be the last time Bitcoin will be producing one full Bitcoin per block. And then 2032 rolls around, boom, every single block that gets produced in Bitcoin's blockchain is now producing less than one Bitcoin. So it's going to continue on until at least the year 2142. But there have been proposals and changes to the 21 million cap. So while the 21 million cap is a cornerstone of the Bitcoin, past debates from earlier inflation concerns to the 2017 block size wars show how difficult changing Bitcoin's core rules would be. While the 21 million cap is pretty much gospel in the Bitcoin world, there have been a few whispers about changing it over the years. Let's take a look at some of these discussions. Back in the early days, some people wondered if an inflationary model might be necessary. The concern was that once all Bitcoin was mined, miners might lose the incentive to secure the network. But Satoshi Nakamoto had a solution: transaction fees. This is what's going to keep Bitcoin mining relevant even after the final Bitcoin is finally mined. So as block rewards decrease over time, fees would take over as the main incentive for miners. This idea has held up pretty well so far. Hal Finney, one of Bitcoin's earliest adopters and possibly the first person to receive Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi, once mused about the possibility of introducing some inflation after the 21 million cap was reached. But he was clear that this was just a thought experiment, not a serious proposal. In his words, imagine if Bitcoin is successful and becomes the dominant payment system in use throughout the world. Then the total value of the currency should be equal to the total value of all the wealth in the world. So even so, Finney remained a staunch supporter of Bitcoin scarcity. While not directly about the supply cap, the block size debates of 2017 showed just how hard it is changed. Bitcoin's core rules, the community was deeply divided over whether to increase the block size, and the disagreement eventually led to the hard fork creating Bitcoin Cash. Now, someone as relatively minor as block size can cause such a rift. Imagine the chaos that would ensure if someone tried to mess with the 21 million cap. It would be pretty crazy. So again, the question is, what if? What would happen if Bitcoin's 21 million cap had changed? Well, changing Bitcoin's 21 million cap would shatter the trust, trigger market panic, and likely lead to a hard fork. But history shows that community fiercely protects its scarcity. So some in the crypto space have speculated that as Bitcoin's adoption grows and mining rewards dwindle, there could be pressure to introduce a small inflationary mechanism. But let's be real. This would be trying to rewrite the constitution of the largest crypto asset out there. The Bitcoin community is fiercely protective of its principles, and any attempt to try to change it. And that supply cap would likely face massive resistance, so it will likely really not get pushed through. But it is worth thinking through, though. What would happen if the hard fork cap were changed? Well, let's play out that scenario. What if someone actually tried to change the Bitcoin hard cap? Spoiler alert, it won't go well. Because again, first, you're losing the trust and credibility. Bitcoin's entire value proposition is built on trust. If the supply cap were changed, that trust would be shattered. As an investor and author, Nassim Taleb once said that Bitcoin is the beginning of something great, a currency without a government, something necessary and imperative. Messing with a hard cap would undermine the greatness. It'll also affect markets' reaction and price impact. The Bitcoin's price is heavily tied to its scarcity. So if the supply cap were increased, the market would likely panic and we could see a massive sell-off as investors lose confidence in Bitcoin's value. And remember, Bitcoin's price has historically been driven by its fixed supply, and any change to that would be a seismic event. Like it would probably drop Bitcoin down to zero, actually be worthless. Like I honestly think that. A hard fork and network split would be proposed for it to happen. So if a proposal did change the supply cap and gain traction, it would almost certainly lead to a hard fork. The community would split into two camps, those who support the change and then those who don't. And then the result is the two competing versions of Bitcoin. But history shows us that forks like this really succeed. Just look at Bitcoin Cash. It's still around, but it's nowhere near as valuable as the widely adopted as Bitcoin is. So these hard forks do happen, but they haven't surpassed Bitcoin. And like Bitcoin Cash is a great example of that. But developer and community support also would probably dwindle. Bitcoin's core developers would need to get on board with the idea, but these folks are likely guardians of Bitcoin's principles, and they're not likely to support something that undermines its core value. And then there still would need to get miners' agreement. Miners would also need to agree to the change. By why would they? Miners have a vested interest in Bitcoin's value. Increasing the supply would dilute their holdings and reduce their long-term profits. There can be an argument that if, in the process of increasing supply, the difficulty of mining goes down, effectively making Bitcoin more economical, and this could make miners more viable and supportive of the increase in supply cap. But again, it's like, they have their own vested interest in Bitcoin mining. So like the increase in that supply cap would just be really terrible for those. So they wouldn't be on board for it. But again, if this were to go through, they have to get their support as well. And then finally, it affects the node consensus. Even if developers and miners agree that the majority of the node operators would also need to get on board, nodes are the backbone of the Bitcoin network, and they have the final say in what changes are adopted from the governance perspective. So another possibility worth keeping in mind, though, is the role of a large institutional Bitcoin holders like BlackRock and Strategy. If they see benefits in increasing the supply through a fork and are willing to move capital at scale into the fork Bitcoin, that might potentially trigger the beginning of a meaningful alternative to Bitcoin. Now, even with the greater capital backing the Bitcoin Cash, the community's acceptance is crucial for any fork chain to become a meaningful Bitcoin alternative. Bitcoin's hard cap is one of its most sacred principles, fiercely guarded by its community. And as Andrea Antonopoulos, as a well-known Bitcoin advocate, once said, Bitcoin is not just a currency, it's a movement. It's about taking control of your own financial destiny. So in theory, it's possible to change Bitcoin's hard cap. After all, it's just code. Code can be rewritten. But in practice, it's a whole different story. Changing the hard cap would undermine the movement and the trust that's been built over the years. And Bitcoin's 21 million cap isn't just a number, it's a promise that Bitcoin community intends to keep. So while the idea of changing the cap might make for an interesting thought experiment, it's highly unlikely to pan out as a credible alternative to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin scarcity is here to stay, and that's a big part of what makes it so special. So that is the what if Bitcoin did ever change its like hard cap of 21 million. Likely it's really not going to go through, but again, it just takes away all of the trust and just community aspect of Bitcoin in general. So it's never going to happen. But again, it's a nice little thought experiment out there. So if you ever have those thoughts or wonders, lead them to this article or video just to go, hey, it's never going to happen. Like this scarcity is what gives Bitcoin its true value. And we are definitely due for a nice little scarcity pump soon because everyone just keeps gobbling it up. Like, yeah, Sailor strategy, Metaplanet, other governments and everything, as long as they don't sell it off, because that's kind of like what Bulgaria did. And they missed out on a $25 billion debt payoff by selling their Bitcoin back in 2018. So I was going to save this one for the next article, but let's just dive right on to this one now. I'm talking about it. So here we go. So Bulgaria's 2018 sale of 213,500 Bitcoin is now worth more than its public debt and has reignited the debate over whether governments should treat crypto as a reserve asset. So like, what if? So the Balkan County of Bulgaria seized over 213,500 Bitcoin back in 2017 and then sold them the following year. Now that would be more than enough to cover the country's public debt. So when Bulgaria seized the 213,519 Bitcoin in late 2017, the haul was worth around 3.5 billion, enough to cover a fifth of the country's national debt, and the government sold the Bitcoin soon after the seizure. But some speculate that despite official denial, the government may still hold these assets. Now, the same amount of Bitcoin would be worth about $25.24 billion now. This exceeds the country's public debt of $24 billion, according to the World Economics data. Now, this data might lead readers to believe that Bulgaria played its cards incorrectly, but in hindsight is 2020. Founder of Opchekovic Research, Alex Opchekovic, told Cointelegraph that Bitcoin's volatility makes it difficult to use it as a stable reserve. Robert Snyder, director at crypto asset management platform Economy, was more critical of the decision. According to him, the sell was motivated by just unfamiliarity of the philosophy, utility, and mission of Bitcoin, he added. He said that considering the recognition that Bitcoin and crypto have received in the last year, I am sure that this would not happen again. Now, long-term holdings of Bitcoin is a reasonable strategy. Opchekovic said that but the potential benefits of holding onto Bitcoin were overshadowed by the risk of sharp drop in value instead of just holding it as a reserve. He suggested that the country should have diversified its holdings, limiting the share of Bitcoin to about 10 to 15%, phased liquidation, hedging through the derivatives, and a clear legal framework to avoid macroeconomic instability were necessary. And he explained that Valentin Mihalov, co-CEO at Web3 market maker and Flux and a Bulgarian, is not as convinced that his government made the right call. According to Mihalov, the story reflects how most governments still misunderstand what crypto can be, not just a speculative asset, but a strategic reserve opportunity. He said that at the time, most institutions still saw Bitcoin as radioactive, if they even knew about it, so that played a significant role in the decision to sell, but was far from the only reason. There was custody was immature, regulation was uncertain, the EU was tightening fiscal discipline, and there was less appetite for risk. From a conservative government's point of view, liquidating the seized Bitcoin was the cleanest path forward, he said. Now, Mihalov said that if he had been advising the Bulgarian government at the time, he likely would have recommended a partial liquidation. However, he added that I would have argued for a long-term reserve structure. Even if it was just 10 or 20% strategic, hold would have positioned Bulgaria ahead of the curve, he highlighted. Now, major nations continue to hold on to Bitcoin, so this is a good sign. According to a recent review, governments collectively held about 463,000 Bitcoin, about 2.3% of the Bitcoin total supply. Now, the two top holders are the United States and China, with Bitcoin Treasury data showing that they hold over 198,000 Bitcoin and exactly 190,000 Bitcoin, respectively. The United Kingdom is the third holding, 61,245 Bitcoin, followed by Ukraine, which includes public officials holding at 46,351 Bitcoin. Then we got the fifth top holder in North Korea, which largely acquired Bitcoin through activities of state-sponsored hacking groups, currently holding 13,562 Bitcoin. And I believe these hacking groups are referring to the Lazarus group, which I think were involved with that Bybit hack. But Bhutan is the sixth largest holder of Bitcoin among countries, with its 10,486 Bitcoin. The government often makes headlines with its Bitcoin transactions, with a July 14th report knowing that it transferred 74 million Bitcoins to Binance over 2 weeks ago. And again, these numbers are just the countries holding on to Bitcoin. Like this, they didn't mention Strategy, they didn't mention MetaPlanet, they didn't mention the new Swiss, mining company acquiring it too. I was like, there's so many companies out there holding on to Bitcoin in a treasury. This is just like the top 6 countries are holding it. So like, what if everyone starts actually holding on to it? They held it for the long run. They held it for 5-10 years. A lot of the debt could be taken care of. That's what Trump's been saying all this time. We're going to pay our debt off with Bitcoin. I write a nice little Bitcoin check. I'm really sure you didn't really understand what he was saying right there, but it was just like, it makes sense. It's like Bitcoin's going to continue rising, and the fiat value is just going to continue to go down. So it's just it just makes sense to hold it, then pay off your debts later on in the future. But yeah, Bulgaria did miss out on this, and it does raise a question, because there was also an article out there, just people who missed out, like, what if I didn't sell? Like, there was an article talking about the Bitcoin pizza guys. Like, I really want to cover those articles when it's actually Bitcoin pizza day. But they were saying, what if he didn't sell his 10,000 Bitcoin? He could he can buy an entire island right now. But it's just like the what if. So best thing to do out there for all of us average Joes is just to buy it and hold on to it, and we will be well off in the near future. So that's Bulgaria missing now. And then let's cover our final article on what if like quantum computing doesn't get in check. So looks like there's a Bitcoin BIP proposal for a quantum resistant upgrade by 2030. So let's hear about this. So the new BIP proposes phasing out legacy Bitcoin signature schemes to prevent catastrophic losses if quantum computers break existing cryptography. So a new Bitcoin improvement proposal aims to tackle the threat posed by quantum computers by phasing out Bitcoin's legacy signature schemes, which can be vulnerable to quantum attacks, in favor of quantum-resistant alternatives. Now, the proposal, titled Post-Quantum Migration and Legacy Signature Sunset, was drafted earlier this week by a group of cryptography and blockchain experts, including the American software engineer Jameson Lopp and Bitcoin QS founder Christian Pfaffenthal. Now, while quantum computers are powerful enough to crack Bitcoin's cryptography are not yet here, recent developments have narrowed the window. Some academic forecasts suggest quantum mechanics capable of threatening Bitcoin could arrive as early as 2027 to 2030 per McKinsey. So time's kind of running out, so we kind of do need to address this. But Bitcoin currently relies on the ECDSA and Schnorr signatures to secure transactions. Still, about a quarter of all Bitcoin's unspent outputs have already revealed public keys on chain, making those funds particularly vulnerable to quantum adversary. Now, a successful quantum attack on Bitcoin would result in significant economic disruption and damages across the entire ecosystem. The proposal warns that beyond its impact on price, the ability of miners to provide network security may be significantly impacted. So here is some specifications on it, like permitted sends from legacy scripts to peer-to-peer at the predetermined block height, nodes reject transactions, and user with frozen quantum vulnerability funds and HD wallet seed phrases construct quantum safe protocols. So all things determined, like the time horizon will be 3 years for the BIP 360 implementation, 2 years after phase A, and then the phase C will be pending. But phased approaches to address quantum computing risks are in play. The proposal suggests a phased approach to address the risks posed by quantum computers. The first phase suggests stopping people from sending Bitcoin to older, less secure addresses that quantum computers just could easily break. About 5 years after this change, the plan will go further by making it impossible to spend any Bitcoin stored in these old, vulnerable addresses, essentially freezing those coins. Now, there is also a possible future step being studied, which might also allow people to recover their frozen Bitcoin by proving ownership with special cryptographic methods linked to their wallets and backup phrases. But this part depends on further research and demand. And the longer we postpone migration, the harder it becomes to coordinate, the author writes. So they argue that a clear time box plan will create certainly, align stakeholders, and minimize the risk of a catastrophic quantum theft. Now, quantum computing threatens Bitcoin. In a recent opinion for Cointelegraph, David Carvalho, CEO of Neuris Protocol, said that the rise of quantum computing poses the most serious threat to Bitcoin security yet. Potentially capable of breaking its cryptographic protections within 5 years or less, he noted that recent advances like Microsoft's Majorna chip have accelerated the development of a powerful quantum computer, which operates differently from classical machines. These quantum systems threaten Bitcoin's core security algorithms, especially as about 30% of Bitcoin's coins sit in addresses vulnerable to the quantum attacks. So they're talking about like these old school wallets out there that just really haven't been touched at all. Like they maybe just actually lost funds too. But that's what they're trying to address because there's 30% of those is just vulnerable to it. But a breach would be catastrophic for holders whose funds would be gone forever and the ecosystem at large. Now, Carvalho said that he added that the real threat isn't just quantum technology itself, but the community's delay in acting decisively to secure the Bitcoin's future. So these decisions got to be made, but again, it's not being talked about. So if you guys have worries about like the quantum computings out there, is your Bitcoin safe? Like it's being discussed, it's being worked on. So we are still like a couple of years down the road where like it really needs to be addressed, but it's in the process. They're talking about it, they're working on it, so there's nothing really to fear. But that's basically all of our Bitcoin news on the what if scenario. Let's take a quick break. I can't believe I've been going for 26 minutes. Dang. So let's take a quick commercial break. I think which commercial I play? I think I'll play a little bit longer one, our Home to Hodl program. So if you want to check out some of our Bitcoin programs that we offer here at the Crypto Club, go to bitcoinbend.io to learn about all of our programs. And here's just one of them that we offer. So I'll be right back after these messages.
In 2008, $7 trillion in home equity disappeared overnight. Millions trusted that their homes would keep them safe. They would be wrong. It takes a lifetime to build wealth, but only a single storm to lose it all. A storm is coming, and only those who prepare will survive. Home to Hodl is a brand new program brought to you exclusively by the Bitcoin Bend Crypto Club. It is your ark, your lifeline to safe harbor. Transfer your valuable equity from your home into the soundest money in human history, Bitcoin. During the last financial crisis, homes lost 30% of their value on average, and almost all of the homeowner's equity. Now contrast that to Bitcoin over the past 4 years. It has appreciated over 60% every single year. Home to Hodl is your Noah's Ark built for financial survival and growth. Get your home equity transferred into Bitcoin before the storm strikes. We have partnered with leading financial institutions to help you unlock the full power of your home equity at maximum loan to value and the best rates available. If you already have a great low interest home loan, keep it. Simply unlock your trapped wealth in a second position loan. And with our no KYC Bitcoin purchase program, we buy bulk Bitcoin privately and store it in your custody where it belongs. Not with the exchanges, not with the government, and certainly not with the banks that need bailouts themselves. Your equity, your Bitcoin, your keys. I'm Dr. Jay Bose, CEO with Bitcoin Bend Crypto Club. We are your lighthouse to guiding you away from the stormy seas and onto solid ground. Because preserving wealth is not just about survival, it's about protecting your future, your family, your legacy. Home to Hodl is a big, bold, and beautiful way to secure your financial future today. Please call us or text us at 941-413-6920 and we will get you started on our exclusive members-only Home to Hodl program. The system is fragile. Bitcoin is not.
And we are back, guys. So yeah, lots more news to cover. I have still about 4 more articles I want to go through with you. So let's not waste any more time and continue it on. So next up in the news, we have SharpLink overtakes Ethereum Foundation to become the largest Ethereum holder. So maybe this is why we're seeing E still in the 3,000 price range. Wait, is this still in the 3,000? Oh, let me double check. Yep, we're still above 3,000, so that's definitely great news for altcoins. Definitely waiting for that alt season to hit, and it could be very soon. So it's going to be your last chance to fill up those bags that may have dipped just to lower your dollar cost average. But let's hear a little bit more about this. So SharpLink's Ethereum acquisition marks the dawn of a collective capitalism bolstering Ethereum's corporate appeal. So on July 15th, the company revealed it owns 280,706 Ethereum, valued at $867 million. The company's impressive Ethereum holdings grew significantly between July 7th and July 13th. During this period, SharpLink purchased 74,656 ETH for $213 million, with an average price of $2,852 per coin. Not bad. The firm also announced that 99.7% of its ETH holdings are staked, generating an additional 415 ETH since June 2nd. And since June 13th, the company's ETH concentration has increased by about 23%. Now, Joseph Lubin, chairman of SharpLink, emphasized that these holdings represent the dawn of collective capitalism. We're business built for the community, not just for profit. He stressed that Ethereum's decentralized, permissionless nature is essential for fostering free markets. He added that collective capitalism is built on the foundation of radically free markets, only possible on a permissionless, uncensorable, rigorously decentralized layer 1 blockchain. Now, following the news, the firm's stocks rose by 20% to $28, according to Google Finance data. Now, the Ethereum treasury strategy gains traction. So yeah, so instead of doing a Bitcoin treasury, these guys decided to go for an Ethereum treasury. So SharpLink announced aligns with a broader trend of the company beginning to adopt the Ethereum treasury strategy. Over the past 30 days, approximately 10 firms, including SharpLink, have purchased more than 550,000 Ethereum, totaling 1.65 billion acquisitions. So I guess there's been 10 other firms. I haven't heard about them, only SharpLink so far, but okay, so people are picking up the Ethereum strategy as well. But some of these entities were previously Bitcoin miners, like BitMine Immersion Technologies, which recently shifted its focus to the second largest digital asset. Now, Kyle Redhead, co-owner of Milk Road, predicted that this trend is expected to continue, with firms possibly purchasing up to $2 billion worth of ETH in the coming months and $3 billion in the following month. He also noted that the growth of stablecoins and favorable regulations could further fuel Ethereum's demand. He stated that in the last 30 days, these treasury companies have bought 0.5% of the entire ETH supply and moved it into Ethereum DeFi smart contracts via staking or lending. Remember, unlike the ETFs, these companies don't sell. They only buy, at least for now, and this is going to create a supply shock for ETH over the coming months. Now, there's really no way around it. Now, at the press time, there's about 1,520,715 ETH, worth over $4.5 billion, locked in various Ethereum reserves belonging to 52 companies. Strategic ETH reserve data shows that these holdings amount to 1.31% of the digital assets total supply. So about 1% being staked out there, but that just shows people still believe in the project. And yeah, Ethereum's a solid project. It's number 2. It's what DeFi was built upon. Like, without Ethereum, we didn't get smart contracts and wouldn't have been able to do basically any of the stuff we are doing now with blockchain and crypto. It'd still just be send and receive transactions. That's it. We never would have progressed. So Ethereum's a solid one. Like, it's not going away. We get these projects out there like Solana, Cardano. Like, everyone's always claiming to be the next Ethereum killer. It's not happening. They're going to compete very well. They're definitely competitors, like, in that ecosystem. But I usually never like to compare Ethereum with Bitcoin. They're just two separate categories. But Ethereum is always going to be around. But that's our Ethereum news we have. So yeah, people are still collecting it. So that's where we're going to see a nice little rise there. And then once Ethereum rises, it's going to trickle down to all the altcoins. That's how alt season has always been. And that's what we've been waiting for. So yeah, keep pumping the price of ETH. I love it. I want to see a 10,000 ETH this cycle, right? Yeah, who's with me? That's right. All right, let's continue on with some more altcoin news. Let's go over some Ripple news. So yes, XRP Ripple. I don't think that has to relate to XRP, but it is Ripple. But Ripple drives digital real estate in the Middle East with a strategic partnership. So Ripple is expanding its enterprise custodial service into the Middle East by partnering with the UAE-based tokenization platform Control Alt. Now, Ripple will support Dubai's real estate digitalization initiatives. Under the agreement, Control Alt will utilize Ripple's custody infrastructure to store digital deeds issued by the Dubai Land Department on the XRP ledger. Now, the partnership with Control Alt in a new role. Now, Ripple's technology will play a central role in the end-to-end asset tokenization infrastructure offered by Control Alt, specifically the secure storage and lifecycle management of a tokenized property deeds will be conducted using Ripple's infrastructure. Now, this partnership aims to facilitate the segmentation and storage of property deeds in digital form for the real estate sector. Now, recently, Control Alt became the first virtual asset service provider in the Dubai, authorized by the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, to offer issuer-focused services. Now, this new regulation directly linked digital assets issuance with on-chain custody and control authorization accelerated the growth of the digital financial ecosystem in Dubai. Now, cryptocurrencies and digital assets in Dubai. Dubai is rapidly enhancing its regulatory infrastructure for digital assets. As interest in cryptocurrency rises, the city continues to open its market to new players. Earlier this year, Ripple obtained the necessary license for the Dubai Financial Service Authority, allowing it to expand its operations. Now, following the acquisition of this license, Ripple established a new partnership with the prominent institutions such as Zan Bank and Mamo. Additionally, Ripple's stable digital asset named RLUSD received approval within the Dubai's International Financial Center. Now, the collaboration between Control Alt and Ripple aids the digital execution of the title transaction and the modernization of asset management in Dubai. According to the announcement, Ripple's custody infrastructure aims to ensure the secure storage of deeds. Now, new stages in digital real estate transformation. The digitization initiative by the Dubai Land Department is hailed as a precursor to a new era in the real estate sector. Storing deeds in a digital environment can increase transaction transparency and speed with the authorization of Control Alt. A significant step has been taken toward digital transformation in the region, and these developments may promote the proliferation of digital assets and technology in Dubai and its surroundings. Investors and industry representatives believe such innovative projects will enhance the region's appeal and strengthen the financial infrastructure. Now, the Ripple and Control Alt partnership sets an example for the utilization of crypto-focused new solutions in the finance and real estate sectors. The digital storage of deeds can enhance transparency, security, and administrative ease. And furthermore, innovation financial solutions are expected to proliferate through this collaboration between the local regulatory bodies and the private sector. As new opportunities arise for investors, real estate transactions may experience increased speed and security because of blockchain technology. Well, I consider Ripple blockchain technology. I always forget that. But with crypto and blockchain technology, it makes things so much faster. No waiting. Everything's transparent. It's like, oh, we need to send you the deed. Bam, no need to go do your file, try to look for it in the system. It's like, oh, digitally sent to you in less than a couple seconds. So it's a new way we're heading. And this is a nice little Ripple deal going on. And they use XRP ledgers. Chain. So for those of you XRP holders, again, I'm not an XRP head, but I never stop anybody from getting it. If you come to the club and need help acquiring XRP, I'll help you out. I'm not stopping you. I do like Bitcoin. I will mention you just may want to just put $100 in Bitcoin. I may just say that just to have a nice little diverse portfolio, but I will not stop anyone from getting into the crypto space. So, but that's our Ripple news going on for you. So sweet. Now let's move on to some crypto ATM news. Some more actually. This is more crypto ATMs, countries, states are picking up this habit for crypto ATM regulation because a lot of scams take place with crypto ATMs. The scammer will lead the individual to go to an ATM, scan a QR code, put in money. Next thing you know, their money's gone. You can't get it. We saw Texas, this one story in Texas where a sheriff actually cut open an ATM to get the victim's money back, but then at that moment they just stole from the ATM company, not the scammer. So we need a lot more rules going in place. And I think Australia started this, but like they put limitations on how much money you can buy from an ATM. So it's like $5,000, that's it, which is a good start. And now it looks like this town in Michigan, so it's in the US, so this idea is being brought over because it also happened in New Zealand as well. But we're putting like $5,000 limitations on crypto ATMs. So let's hear about this. And I think this is great because we want to do everything we can to stop scammers from stealing people's crypto and money. But this town of Grosse Pointe Farms has no crypto ATMs, but has regulated them anyway, requiring registration, warnings, and limit on kiosks. Okay, so this town doesn't even have a crypto ATM, but hey, it's nice that they're putting regulations and rules into place so if a crypto ATM does appear, they know what to abide by. So a town in Michigan that has no crypto ATMs has passed an ordinance that puts multiple restrictions on kiosks and their operators with aim of protecting residents from scams. The City Council of Grosse Pointe Farms is a small town just outside Detroit, Michigan, passed the ordinance at a meeting on Tuesday after discussions on regulating crypto ATMs were prompted by a report of a local resident being scammed at a crypto ATM in a nearby town of St. Clair Shores. In April, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel issued a statewide warning about crypto ATM scams, and local news outlets, the Detroit Free Press, had reported on crypto ATM scams in the city. Now, rules give a little bit of help to residents. The crooks tell people to go out and put money into these machines, and it's a very untransparent situation. Council member Lev Wood said at a meeting that what we want to do with our ordinance tonight is to enhance the transparency and provide a little bit of help to our residents. Now, the ordinance was passed unanimously, with council members noting that this makes Grosse Pointe Farms likely the first municipality in Michigan to regulate crypto ATMs. Now, ordinance to limit transactions. The city attorney, Bill Burgess, outlined 4 main regulations for any future crypto ATM in town. Crypto ATMs must be registered with the Department of Public Safety, and operators must obtain a business license. There also needs to be mandatory warnings and written consumer protection warnings about the fraud risks and irreversible transactions. And the rules also impose transaction limits for new users within the first 2 weeks, putting a $1,000 daily transaction cap and a $5,000 aggregate limit over the period, which are removed after 14 days. Now, the idea is that someone at the point would become more familiar with the utilization of machines, said Burgess. Now, CoinFlip rep shares their experience. Now, this is a usual ATM out there you'll probably see at gas stations that you travel the states, but Carson Gatt, a representative from the Chicago-based digital currency firm and ATM operator CoinFlip, also attended the meeting to share a personal story of preventing an elderly woman from being scammed. He said that the firm has looked into limits and holding periods on the first transactions to limit the first time a new customer uses the machine, because that's where you see the majority of these instances taking place. Now, CoinFlip has operated in the state of Michigan since 2019 and was officially granted a money transmitter license in April. Now, Arizona, Nebraska, California, and Washington states have all cracked down on crypto ATMs this year. And those ones are more about just like increasing like the taxes, the price. I think in those towns, like to use them is like 30%, 35%. So they crack down that way, where it's just like, let's just make it impossible for a crypto ATM to be just in there. But I think that's kind of a wrong way to go. It's a safe way to go because, yeah, if people can't utilize it, then they're not going to be scammed by using it. But like, it is a way people just want to take their cash and put it into a machine, buy some Bitcoin. It's like simple. It's also just they know it. What I'm trying to say? Like, it's not easy to use. Like, they already know how to use it. They've done it before. They put money in a normal ATM. It's just they know how to use it. So it just makes sense. Of cash, boom, Bitcoin, done. So it's just, I think having these limitations does help and will limit scams out there because you know the person may put in $1,000 and then they're trying to tell that person on the other line like, oh no, the machine's only letting me do 1,000. Then if that person tries to tell you to go through a bunch of other ATMs, like, go to a different one. Then go to a different one. It's like hopefully that stops them at that point from just like falling for it. Like if they ever stop in our clubs when we have a crypto ATM here, like if they stop in, like they have at least me at the front desk, someone here letting them know, is like, hey, are you sure you know like who you're talking to? This isn't a scam out there. We're here to try to prevent scams from happening, because even when they go through the process of using a crypto ATM, they get asked those same exact questions. Know who you're sending this to. Send this only to your own wallet. If it's not your wallet and we find out, we will ban your account. So like they still have to hear those, but by just coming to the club, at least they get like a second layer of protection. So on top of that, we try to stop it. If they still go through with it, that's on them and their decision, but we tried everything we could. But no, so this is what the town of Michigan is doing. Even though they have no ATMs, I think it's cool that they're putting in these rules and just laws right now. And now let's cover our last article of the evening, where looks like the DEA, FBI, has seized $10 million in crypto from a Mexican drug cartel, Sinaloa, this year. So a quarterly report from the DOJ reveals that Mexican Sinaloa cartel was raided in 2025 and agents seized $10 million in crypto in Miami, Florida. So, hey, this is some crypto that we won't sell anymore. That's right, because it's not one of our rules or executive orders that was signed. No more selling seized crypto. So let's hear a little bit more about this. A new U.S. Department of Justice highlighted that the Drug Enforcement Administration, or the DEA, seized more than $10 million in cryptocurrency from the Mexican drug cartel Sinaloa. Now, the report didn't specify what type of cryptocurrency was seized, but did say it was seized in Miami and was taken as part of a wider operation that includes California, Texas, Georgia, and other states. And according to the report, over 44 million fentanyl pills, more than 4,500 pounds of fentanyl powder, and nearly 65,000 pounds of methamphetamines have been seized nationally since January. So way to go, get those off our streets. That's bad. We don't want them here. Now, the DEA is hitting the cartels where it hurts, with arrests, with the seizures, and with the relentless pressure. So the DEA acting administration, Robert Murphy, the DEA worked in conjunction with the FBI, and according to the Justice Department, seized over $10 million in Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, $10 million in cryptocurrency, directly linked to the Sinaloa cartel. Now, this is the same cartel responsible for using hackers to find and kill informants. Last month, the cartel hired a hacker who managed to gain access to phone data in Mexico City surveillance cameras, and then these were used to track and kill FBI informants, according to the Justice Department. Now, the drug cartels have been linked to crypto in the past, with reports revealing that Tether is closely linked to these drug trades, and, well, because they use Tether, it can easily be frozen, so that's good. But unlike fiat currencies, which remains the dominant form of funding criminal and terrorist efforts, so criminals still prefer using fiat, not just crypto. So don't take this as a bad article. See, like I told you guys, like only criminals are using Bitcoin and crypto. It's like, no, this is only just a small part of it. 10 million of who knows how many like actual money they're actually using for these bad activities. But no, it's like just only some, not all. But despite our best efforts, like most companies, we can't always preemptively stop every bad actor. A Binance spokesperson also told Decrypt this, that earlier this year in May, Decrypt reported on cartel bosses charged with narco-terrorism after links to their crypto use were discovered. This came as blockchain investigators traced how cartel drugs profited or using crypto as a way just to launder their profits. So this is just a bust. This wasn't a hack. This wasn't anything scam going on out there in the crypto space. That just thought that I still shared with you about the 10 million in crypto seized, because hey, this happened in the US. This still revolves around, like, again, that one executive. I gotta look that up. Which executive order? I'm gonna go to Grok and find out, like, which order. Let's see. I'm typing this to Grok right now here. If you want to see, I'm on Grok. Which order was it that America won't sell any more crypto seized? Okay, let's see. Come on, Grok. I haven't upgraded to Grok 4 yet, so I'm still using Grok 3. I know this guy. Let's see. The executive order that addresses the U.S. government's policy to retain seized Bitcoin rather than selling it is the one signed by President Donald Trump on March 6, 2025, the Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financing Technology. This order also established a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which is to be capitalized with Bitcoin already owned by the federal government through criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings. So see, boom. So that's why I was covering this article right here. If, 10 million in crypto, that's not going to be forfeited anymore. We ain't selling it, because all before Trump came in, like, they were selling off some Bitcoin. It's like, why? Don't do it. And that was back when Bitcoin was like at 70,000. And currently we're sitting at a price of 119. So yes, do not sell our Bitcoin. But that's basically it, though, for all the news. He really should report on a scam, though. I guess we've seen in our community out there Bitcoin Ben scam. So yeah, heads up scammers in the DM. So we're seeing fake Bitcoin Ben profiles targeting our network. This is just one of many so far, posing as investors or influencers or collaborative offers on the phone or your tablet. Telegram, make sure you hide your phone number in the settings. That way they don't reach that. But stay silent, stay sharp. But here's what this looks like. So we got a fake Bitcoin Ben messaging people out there saying, hey, Ralph, thanks for being part of this wonderful family. I'm actually undergoing a surgery to check on my veteran subscribers to see how they're doing in this current market situation. So scam, guys, if you get something like this type of message, just block, report it, delete the message so it's out of your system. But again, like a good tip to do is hide your phone number on Telegram so it's not public and people can't spam you with text spam messages. So thought I'd just share that with you. And then lastly, let's just take a look at our fear and greed index, see where we're at. We are at a 68 right now, so we dipped a bit, which is good because again, when we were really greedy, markets could see corrections, but people are doing quite well. It looks like Bitcoin's price is still, we're at 119, making our way back up to the 120s. We'll test that out, and then hopefully we shoot to 130. Ethereum's at 32. I want to see a new, what was Ethereum's previous all-time high? I want us to get to there. That'd be a nice thing to see. All-time high was 4,891. So when Ethereum hits 5,000, woohoo, that's when I really want to be checking my altcoin portfolio. But that's all the news I have for you. We had a long live stream again, a lot of the what ifs of the Bitcoin's hard cap. Bulgaria should have kept their Bitcoin and they probably would have paid off all their public debt. And then the Bitcoin proposal on the quantum computing, that definitely took a lot of time. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I got some news and good information from these articles. But I hope everyone stays safe out there. If you need any help, again, join the club, schedule an appointment with me or anyone at your nearest club near you, and we'll be glad to get you set up. So have a great day. Love you. Stay safe.
In a world where your data is constantly under attack, one company stands for your digital freedom. Introducing Calyx Solutions, your gateway to ultimate online privacy and secure cryptocurrency trading. Meet the Liberty Laptop. With its modified OS and advanced tracking prevention, it's your shield against surveillance. Access restricted areas, use recommended security software, and browse with confidence. Your digital footprint? Virtually non-existent. For the crypto pros, we present the Crypto Laptop. Pre-configured on premium hardware for secure trading. Optimized for your favorite wallets and exchanges, it's the fortress your digital assets deserve. Both laptops come with expert individual training and support. You're never alone in your journey to digital empowerment. At Calyx Solutions, we put you in control. No more worrying about data breaches or compromised transactions. Ready to join the revolution? Visit calyxsolutions.io and choose your perfect laptop today. Plus, become an affiliate and earn while sharing the power of digital freedom. Calyx Solutions. Unlock your digital freedom. Give us a call or text at 702-845-8276 or visit us directly at calyxsolutions.io.